What are some of the best advice that men, women in the industry before you have partaken, shared with KeKe?
Oh, a lot of people have shared a lot of things with me. I remember I was on a set of The Long Shots with Ice Cube. And I think I've told this story before. But, you know, he was very cool, very chill. He didn't say too much, a man of few words, but very nice. And one day they were like, Ice Cube wants to speak to you. And I'm like, okay, you know? So they called me into a room. He's like way far distant from me and there's some bodyguards there. I'm like, what are we about to talk about, you know? He's like, I just want to tell you, KeKe, you're a beautiful young lady. And I see how kind you are, how nice you are to everybody on the set. But I want you to know that you're growing into a young woman. And a lot of times the way that people see you, the way that these men see you on set, it's not the way that you see yourself. So protect yourself, be careful, and don't let them take advantage of you. Know who you are and know what you have so that people can't use it against you. And I was just like, I didn't understand it because I was like 14 at the time. And I was like, okay. You know, and I just said, can I go? And I walked out. That stuck with me. And it was so important, I think, for him to say something like that to me. You know what I mean? He's a father. He's someone who has seen a lot in this industry, especially with young entertainers. And I always remember that, and I was always so grateful to him for that. I haven't seen him since, but I would love to tell him that that really stuck with me all these years, and thank you for reminding me.
Are there any roles that you turned down that you later regretted?
I don't say that I would regret this one, but it would have kind of been cool to be in Half Nelson. I remember they had reached out to us about that. My mom was so, you know, they've always been so particular about how I represent the community. You know, I grew up with them always talking about Ruby Dee, Ozzie Davis, you know, Muhammad Ali, and just entertainers and how they use their platforms.
Correct.
And so they were like feeling bad about the fact that I would go from doing Akeelah and the Bee to being a drug dealer. And so that's why they weren't interested in that. But, you know, obviously Ryan Gosling is a great actor and so is Sharika Epps. So it was a great movie.
Of all the movies that you've done, which movie is KeKe Palmer most identified with?
That people identify me the most with? Absolutely Akeelah and the Bee.
Really?
People still to this day, that is the movie when they think about me. I mean, I've gone on the airplanes and people say, are you the little girl in Akeelah and the Bee? And I'm like, yeah, that's crazy that you know that. So that's the one that I think people still think about the most. And then True Jackson VP, yeah. And then now, Nope.
Have you ever gotten stage fright? Have you ever gotten up there and forgot every word that you were supposed to say after knowing it backwards and forward?
That happened to me once. I was doing Broadway. And, you know, what happens is you start kind of go like blank in your mind when you're doing so many shows like that.
Right.
Because you get used to the fact that I know what I'm doing. And they rehearse you and rehearse you and rehearse you so much that you're like, oh, I got this. And you can actually leave your body a little bit. Wow. One night, I left my body doing a lovely night. And I was like, oh, what kind of night is it? I was like, and honey, it was the strangest thing because, you know, I'm doing my dance and everything. And so I was like, I just stayed dancing and smiling, like literally. I felt crazy. And then I looked down and I see the conductor and he's like, and he's mouthing it back to me. And I suddenly got back on track. Honey, I felt like I went, and you know what they call it? They call it, you go into the little white room.
Wow.
I went to the little white room and I didn't know how I was going to recover.
Right.
That was the scariest thing I ever experienced in my life.
But do you think the audience knew that you had lost your train of thought?
I would love to have asked somebody. They might have thought, weird choreography. You know, because I was literally like, it was strange. I went from being like, and it was just like, is she good? They had to have thought that. But once I got back in, and that was it, you know? It was spooky.
Long shot. Which quarterback taught you how to throw the ball 40 yards in long shot?
You know, it was this man named Pastor Denny. Okay. In Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana. His name was Pastor Denny. He told me he used to train Brett Favre back in the day, but you know, everybody says stuff like that. Yeah. But I loved Pastor Denny. He was such a sweet man. And they sat there, they would teach me how to play, they would teach me how to throw the ball, everything like that. I got down and dirty with him.
So, let's just say for the sake of argument, because now they have a flag football, the young ladies play flag football. If they would have had that back then and you could have played, what position would you have played? You'd have been a quarterback?
I think I would have been a quarterback, for sure.
Oh, you want to shine, huh?
Can't you tell? I do think I would have done sports. I would have, because I like discipline. I was just telling you that when we was talking, like, I like that. I like, you know, even though I'm not an athlete, I do think like an athlete because I got to make sure I'm on point. I got to learn my lines. I got to be here when I got to show up. I got to look right. I got to sound right. I got to, you know, do all those things. And I really do love it. So I feel like if I hadn't gotten into my sport and entertainment, that I would have gotten into something.
So if KeKe Palmer is a quarterback, what current quarterback is her game? Is she Lamar Jackson? She Patrick Mahomes? She Dak Prescott? She Brock Purdy? I mean, who is KeKe as a quarterback?
I mean, Patrick Mahomes is really good. Patrick Mahomes is really good, but I really also do have to show some love to my man Jalen.
Okay, Hurts?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts, I think, is great. I think Patrick Mahomes is doing his thing. You can't deny what you see.
Right.
That's the main thing. I wonder what my man Michael Strahan would say. You know, that's my boy.
Okay.
I gotta ask him. I know he ain't the quarterback, but I gotta ask him what he think.
Okay, TLC Bio, you played Chili in that buyout.
Yes, I did. That was a really fun experience. That was really, 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 really fun. I remember going to her house. She has a huge mansion, but everything is miniature to her height. I was like, this is so cute. It was like perfectly for her height.
Yeah.
And she spent so much time with me, speaking to me about her life, her experience in the group, what the movie meant to her. It was just a really special time.
Yeah. She's a great lady. I met her several times, and on the plane, and we just talked the whole trip from LA back to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
If you could play anyone else in a buyout, who would you play?
I wish you joy. I would live to play Whitney. That would be, but they've done too many of it now. So it's like, I don't want to keep on going. You know what I mean? But in the back of my throat, I would love to sit up there and, give you that.
What about Angela Bassett?
Would love to be Angela as well. I mean, people always say that because I go into the impressions of her.
Yeah.
And if Angela wanted me to play her, all she knows is I'm one call away.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I mean, Whitney, you could really... You got a new movie out with SZA and Issa Rae.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about the movie.
So it's called, well, actually, I was just about to tell you what it was called, but we didn't change the name, so there's no name yet.
Oh, okay.
You'll know the name soon. But the movie is about essentially two girls that are trying to make it to get their rent paid, and by the end of the day. So it kind of goes over the course of one day and all the different hijinks that they experience. But the movie has so many other themes, ultimately like about gentrification and the fact that a lot of people are being kind of priced out of their environment. So ultimately it comes to a place of being about community and friendship and love, and how those are the things I think we got to cling to when we're trying to get through these hard times.
Right. Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party, because we like to do something before two something.